from the News Channel 5 Network. This is Pasa, Nashville.
Bienvenidos and welcome to Pasa, Nashville. My name is Christina Allen and thank you for joining me. My guest today is Dr. Jesse Register, the Director of Schools for Metro Nashville Public Schools. Thank you very much, Dr. Register, for being on the show.
It's good to be here today.
I always enjoy you coming to the show because you show the beauty of what Nashville is becoming. You see it firsthand on our diversity. But before we get started, can you kind of give me a broad stroke of how Metro Schools is doing, where we are students, and just kind of like an overview of what's going on?
We're very excited about where we are right now, and I'll go back to just a couple of weeks ago when President Obama chose Nashville to be the follow-up city in the country to the State of the Union to talk about education. And the initiatives that we have going on here now, from high school reform to our move to expand pre-kindergarten 4-year-old programs for children, is getting a lot of steam, gathering a lot of steam and a lot of national attention, and I think we're just moving in the right direction. Great change for our school system, great change for the children that we serve, and I think what's so interesting and what's such an opportunity for us here is that we are a very diverse school system. Our children speak 135 languages and come from about that many different countries in the world, and they're not a majority race, and we're extremely multicultural in this district, and it's a great asset. And I think in the sense I have is that more and more people are beginning to get their attitude turned toward recognizing that our diversity is really an asset for us, and it's the future face of our country, and we have an opportunity here to be successful with the diversity that we have, and we're promoting that every way that we can, and it's for the children that we serve.
And I think, as we know, 95% of the population lives outside the U.S. and there are no more borders anywhere, and technology is the future.
Yes.
And we're going to be interacting with people from all different races. So the assets of diversity is a strong words coming from you, because our schools are representative about that. I believe we have over 80,000 students.
Almost 84,000 now.
And it's continually growing,
yes.
and growing in our ELL, English language learners, right, as well.
Yes.
And that is reflective of our pre-K, from my understanding. Our younger children are more diverse than our older seniors and so forth, because of our hub becoming a multicultural city.
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
Specifically, our immigrant population is growing. The younger our children in school, the greater percentage of English learners we have, and children who are not English language background. And so for our younger children, the percentages are very high. We expect, there's one statistic that I'm watching this year. I expect our Latino population to pass 20% of the total enrollment this year. Total enrollment of the school system will be Latino this year, or at the beginning of next year, and that's a huge change. That's our fastest growing culture.
But we also have to remember that it's children like my children. I am first generation of Mexican American, and they're not all undocumented, and they're here by choice or sometimes not. And but we also see our refugees and our immigrant community growing because of what Nashville does as a welcoming city, as a welcoming state as well.
Yes.
But with that diversity, it's a lot of, I think, people and correct me if I'm wrong, is understanding our testing. I mean, they don't get tested in their own language. Therefore, sometimes it's reflective of our grade, of our state grade, because in certain schools where there's more immigrants that don't know the language, those test scores are still put into the overall category. Whereas some of our other schools, like for instance Meg's Middle School, from my understanding, it just won a huge Blue Ribbon Award,
right,
in which out of, correct me if I'm wrong, 2,700 middle schools, they were chosen of one of only 20 to go to the White House and receive a prestigious award in their depth of learning. Is that correct?
Right. Yes, the Meg's received a great award. That Blue Ribbon Award's really a special award. To talk about English learners and the testing that we have, it just takes a little bit more time. If you move into this country, if you're an immigrant coming into this country and you have to learn language, conversational English comes pretty quickly, but the academic English, understanding how to take a test in English and respond in English, takes a little bit more time. We feel very good about where we are. We're working now on really beefing up, if you will, or strengthening our English learner programs in our schools. We have many teachers now that are certified as English learners, English learner teachers, many more, but we're really looking at a higher level of training and being very research-based in the way we offer programs to our children so that they can develop that academic skill set in English that they need. So we feel that's an opportunity for us. We're not like anyone else in this state, so I feel personally a very strong responsibility to speak out on issues that for our international population, for our diverse population, because in the education circles, I'm the main voice for that, and so it's very important for me for us to support those things that we need to support.
And thank you very much for the recent letter you wrote to Governor Haslam. If you can expand on that, Governor Haslam has his drive to 55 to get 55% of graduates, either a certification or college degree, prepared for our workforce development, for future companies coming in, so that we are at a level of educated workforce. And in doing so, federally, all immigrant children that are undocumented get to come to school as a federal program, no cost, no questions, correct? And so you recently wrote a letter asking the governor to expand his new initiative of letting, and I'm going to go ahead and let you explain that. So,
well, there was a specific request of the governor, and he and I asked him in a public meeting if the Tennessee Achieves effort that he was making, and that's to provide junior college tuition free for 2 years to Tennessee graduates applied to undocumented students, and the answer was no, that the legislature would not approve that, and so that's important to me. So if we're going to do this for our children in Tennessee, let's do it for all of them. There is some good legislation now, and I think the governor's proposal is very good. Let's just include all children in that. There is good legislation now in the General Assembly to give children of undocumented citizens who live in Tennessee, both children who were born here and children who came here as children and are now graduating who are not documented, in-state tuition. That's a great first step, because right now our children who are not documented or whose parents are not documented have to pay out-of-state tuition.
And that's about 3 times as cost as than a regular in-state tuition.
That's correct.
So, what was his response? Is it more than just legislature?
Yeah, this was several weeks ago, and the response was that he didn't think the legislature would approve that. So I want to go on record as saying the legislature does need to approve this. We do need to include children of undocumented residents and children who are undocumented in this program if they have grown up and graduated from high school in Tennessee, then they ought to be included.
And you recently just mentioned that you project maybe 20% of the population of Metro students would be of English language learners or Latino.
Right.
But if we look at long term, Nashville Mayor Carl Dean has a Nashville Next initiative going on, trying to see what we're going to look like in 25 years. And right now, the Davidson County population is 10%. With this projection, he's looking at 34% of Davidson County population being of Latino descent.
Right.
This is reflective of our population growth, which is reflective of our graduation growth, which is reflective of our workforce needs.
Absolutely.
And so what is the challenge that you think needs to be done to support this? Other directors of other school districts need to come on board? Presidents of universities?
Absolutely. All of those other school districts, particularly those district leaders who have a diverse population, need to get on board with this. And I don't know any of them that aren't. And it's a political will, if I may say so, to really deal effectively with immigration laws. You know, the big picture is let's make sure that our immigration laws are right. But in the short term, let's treat our children fairly who have grown up and graduated from high school in Tennessee. They ought to be able to receive in-state tuition. I want to give a personal. I want to relate to one of our students. 3 years ago, I believe, the valedictorian at Glencliff High School, who was a great young man from Mexico, was valedictorian, told me directly that he wanted to be a teacher of English. And I have a huge challenge recruiting Latino teachers in the numbers that we need to be reflective of our student population. And it would be outstanding if he could be an English teacher in our school system. But he couldn't afford to go to school here. Couldn't afford to go to school in this country. He went back to Mexico, and that's a loss. And you know, and what value he would add in our community, and many of the others of our children. We have children now who can get in-state tuition at Western Kentucky University, who cannot get in-state tuition here in the city where they finished growing up or grew up and graduated from high school. And that's an inequity that we need to address.
We're going to take a quick break. We're going to continue talking to Dr. Register regarding in-state tuition for undocumented students, as well as the growth of our assets of diversity within our metro schools. We'll be right back.